Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to This Is a Work. My name is David Hensley. I'm the owner and creative director of Long Walk Productions, and my job is to introduce your host, David Two Doggz Hayes.
Thank you very much, David Hensley, and welcome to Rock Hill, South Carolina's only premier pay-per-view wrestling review podcast. This is a work. With me, as always, is my tag team partner, Chris, the Fashion Plate Barnes. How are you, sir?
I'd be a lot better if you just would stop giving me a nickname.
Well, that one's in now. It's like, how many shows?
Yeah, no, the Fashion Plate is over now.
No, not over. No, it should be over, not over.
No, not that kind of over. The other kind of over.
That's what I mean. I don't want it to be that kind of over.
Right, the wrestling over.
Yeah, I want it to be the regular over.
No.
Yeah, wrestling over.
No, it's not regular over.
It already is.
Third base.
This is a wrestling podcast.
So, man, we had an opportunity to watch AEW's Double or Nothing. Again, I have not been keeping up with Dynamite since WrestleMania, or since all this shit started. That's what we call it down here. If anybody listens anywhere else in the world, we don't call it COVID-19. We don't call it Corona. We call it this shit that's going on. That's ask anybody. But yeah, I haven't been watching. I'm about to get back on. I think I'm going to start watching Raw and SmackDown and AEW next week, and see if I can get some NXT in there too. Man, this pay-per-view, I was checking things out on the internet. Never has the country been so divided.
I did notice that.
Some people are saying this is the greatest pay-per-view they have ever seen in the history of wrestling. I think that's quite a stretch. Some people are saying this is the worst thing that I've ever seen, and I'm never watching wrestling again. I think that's also a stretch.
Or your Jim Cornette.
Yeah, Jim Cornette.
I saw what he had to say about it.
He hated it so badly.
So much.
The people that he loved on the podcast, which it's not very many in AEW. He likes Jericho. Mm-hmm. He likes Cody. He likes Lance Archer. Mm-hmm. I think who else does he like? There's not too many more. And he's like, hey, to hell with all of you guys. You made me watch this. I'm done with all of you. I'm never speaking to any of you again, and I'm never watching AEW again. This is not wrestling. I hate my life. And it's not a quote, but I'm paraphrasing. You get the gist.
You're pretty much there.
You were actually less vulgar than he was, from what I read.
Oh yeah. I've seen screenshots of his statement.
Yeah.
It's just always hilarious hearing that come from him, and if you know anything about his career.
Well, I mean, this is the same guy that gets that booked him getting his face shoved into a birthday cake and then starting a food fight.
Yes, multiple times.
Yeah, which I don't consider real wrestling either. However, it got over. So I think he needs to calm down. But me and old James E, we agree on some things and we disagree on many, many, many more. Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about it.
All right.
I did not watch the buy-in.
We both missed it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just going to go right to the to the pay-per-view, and
a quick reminder for everyone listening: if you don't know already, the buy-in, their pre-show, is always free on YouTube.
It is, yeah. Why we didn't bother to watch it?
I was about to say, which means that neither of you have any excuse for not watching it.
I'm not offering one.
Yeah. No, I don't know why we just didn't. So the first thing that we see is a tag team match to determine the number one contender for the AEW World Tag Team titles. or was that the pay-per-view? No, that was the pre-show. Sorry.
That was the buy-in. The buy-in, yeah.
Yeah, that was the buy-in. So, yeah. Well, the Best Friends defeated Private Party.
Nice.
And, yeah.
There's a reason for me to go back and watch the buy-in right there, because I was sad I didn't see Private Party on the main show.
Right. And I love the Best Friends.
They're both great. Both of those teams are awesome.
Mm-hmm. Never disappointing. So the first match that we had is the Casino Ladder match.
Oh, my God.
For the future AEW Championship match. So we start this out with Luchasaurus, Frankie Kazarian, Jimmy Havoc. Well, it actually started with Scorpio Sky, and was it Saban?
I think so. It was both members of SCU, wasn't it?
Yeah. It started out with Scorpio Sky and Kip Sabian. Later on, here comes Joey Janela. Darby Allin comes into the mix.
Yes, that's right. Oh, God.
I'm getting there.
Darby Allin on his quest to end his and everyone's life.
Yeah. Colt. Well, we'll get to Colt. Next comes out your favorite and mine, the King of Sloth style, and that would be freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, who doesn't run down to the ring, goes over to the commentary table,
and proceeds to ask them,
what are the rules?
Yeah, what are the rules of the match? How do you win?
He gets in the ring. He methodically dodges and dips
he does
everybody as they shoot for him and fall out of the ring.
And he does what might be my favorite spot. He reaches up for the big poker chip,
flat-footed,
on the ground, not on a ladder, just hoping to just will it to come lower to him.
At another point, the ladder's laying down. He stood on the ladder that was laying down and reached up. Had some trouble figuring out how to stand the ladder up, and he picked it up. He didn't open it. He just picked it up, and then it fell over. He was confused by this.
I never thought there would be a point at which man doesn't understand how ladders work would be my favorite thing about a wrestling show.
I know.
But here it is. This was one of my favorite things about the entire night.
Oh, absolutely.
That was in between everyone else just beating the hell out of each other.
Oh, yeah. This match was uber violent.
It was.
There's a lot of planned spots here that's crazy.
It looks worse because AEW's ladders that they use look way sturdier than WWE's.
They do. We had a spot with good old Darby Allin.
Oh my God!
Setting up a ladder between the guardrail and the ring.
Yeah.
And
someone I forgot who he knocked onto it, but he knocked someone onto it.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. And then he climbs to the top of another ladder, grabs his skateboard.
Which I was confused. I was like, I did not know where he grabbed that from.
I didn't either. I didn't see him going up with it. So, yeah, I was confused too. But so, boom, he's got the skateboard. He jumps onto the skateboard as he's jumping off the ladder, and whoever he was going to splash was not there anymore.
The ladder still was.
Yeah. And he went right through it.
That ladder crumbles, and then so did he.
And he takes a breather for about 15 to 20 minutes. And so things go. Colt Cabana comes down, tries to help Orange Cassidy a little bit. And eventually, we have the newcomer.
Yeah, this all was kind of leading up to the arrival of the newcomer.
Mm-hmm. Brian Cage.
Preceded by Taz. Taz comes out and then introduces Brian Cage, yeah.
Yeah. I really hope Taz is managing now. I'd love to see
he is.
that.
I know there was a promo he cut on Dynamite.
Oh, I want to see him out there. I don't want to see him just doing commentary, although I think he does fine as a commentator.
I'm pretty sure he is. Because like I said, he had a segment on Dynamite where he promos at Cody.
Excellent.
Not at Cody, Moxley, who's on commentary.
Right on. Cool. Good. Glad to hear it. Brian Cage comes out there and decimates everyone.
To the point it leads to a great spot where everyone realizes that we got to gang up on him.
Yeah.
They proceed
to beat the hell out of him, throw him out of the ring,
and bury him.
No.
I mean, literally, they take everything they can and dump on top of him.
They put chairs on him. They put the guardrail on him,
and it culminates in three or four different guys grabbing one of the giant set poker chips and laying it on top to keep him pinned down.
So good.
And the match goes on until he finally wakes up and breaks free.
Yeah.
And it leads to the best like penultimate spot to me, which was at some point Orange Cassidy ends up on his back, just holding on. He's basically getting piggybacked by Brian Cage as Brian Cage climbs up the ladder, and as Ryan is climbing, Orange is reaching up and he's almost got the poker chip when everyone starts pulling them back down. Via Orange, they could grab Orange and use him to pull Cage off of the ladder.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I loved this match.
It was a glorious mess as it needed to be.
It was. It was a beautiful death.
And eventually Cage shakes everybody off, gets up the ladder, and claims the poker chip.
Yeah. Which, that was the whole point of this, was we're going to debut Brian Cage. He's going to be a monster, and this is how we're putting him over. Him and Luchasaurus got into a drag out before that happened.
And it was amazing watching these two big guys be so athletic. Luchasaurus, you knew, could move. Brian Cage shows off his athleticism because they are back and forth, rapid fire.
Yeah, it's the new thing. Is monsters don't have to move slowly around the ring anymore. They're
monsters with moves.
Yeah, they get to sell.
Yeah.
They get to take bumps.
Well, that's the other thing I appreciated. I mean, it took a lot to put him down, but they showed that Cage is vulnerable because they when everybody piled on to him, he was out for a while.
Right. But yeah, so we have a. I guess he's the equivalent of a Money in the Bank winner.
Essentially, yeah. It's just that he's got a free title shot, and I guess he's like at the front, the immediate front of the line for the next title shot.
So I guess that would make him the number one contender in a matter of speaking.
Essentially, yeah.
I loved this match. I went. I believe I went. Did I go? Yeah, I started to go 4.5, and you talked me down to 4. I
thought that was
correctly.
for something else. I can't remember. I thought you said 5 for this one, honestly, but I would say
no, because I didn't want to go 5 because there was a lot of
botches. There were some pretty
botches.
Obvious botches, so I think 4 was fair.
Mm-hmm. And
he did knock some points off a little bit, but a great match overall.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Yeah, four solid Meltzers. So next we move into my man MJF Maxwell, Jacob Friedman, with Wardlow, his ring boy.
Just call him Ring Boy, Jesus.
With, as JR would say, Jack Jungle Perry Boy.
He called him Jungle Jack Perry the whole time. It's Jungle Boy.
What a hell of a match
it was.
God.
It was it was a longer match, and on top of that, the tension was high the whole time. You didn't really know until the very last second who was really going to come out the winner.
Yeah. This was a solid match. There was one thing that I didn't like about it, and that was like I want to say this was like kind of in the middle of the match. It stopped all the momentum. They stopped and they started chopping each other.
Oh yeah,
and which you know how I feel about the chops anyway. For me, like you stopped the momentum of the match there, and fortunately, these two are so good they can get the momentum back, but I don't know. The spot seemed pointless to me. It didn't go anywhere.
A little, and I mean, and it's not like they performed the spot badly, because
No.
by the end of that particular exchange, both men were pasty white on top, pasty white on bottom, beat red in the middle.
Right.
But they did just kind of stop. I guess the whole point was to,
It was weird. Like it felt like they forgot a spot, and that would have led up to it.
maybe.
And they just said, I don't remember what we were supposed to do. Let's just go to the chop spot. And
Maybe something like that.
but yeah, it was a great match nonetheless. MJF obviously is going over.
What do you mean, obviously?
Because he's the man.
Yeah.
And he's got
The
Wardlow.
man who almost lost to Jungle Boy.
Yeah, he didn't. He's playing possum.
It wasn't decisive. It was skin of the teeth.
It was pretty decisive. He's Jack Perry's he's the son of a celebrity.
Who? All I saw in the ring was Jungle Boy.
It doesn't matter. He's the son of a celebrity. He's been living a cushy life. MJF. He came up on the
MJF, the working man. Is this where
that's exactly what I'm going with.
Yes.
He's like Billy Joel, you know?
Oh my God.
I said that. Billy Joel.
If he's near a piano, your night is over. Because that's all you're going to hear for the next 6 hours.
You better believe it. Did you see him singing on Rosie O'Donnell when he was a kid?
No.
Oh, yes. Oh, please YouTube that.
No.
Maxwell Freeman. Yeah. Yep. Sure enough. This match was pretty good.
It was.
I really enjoyed it. I want to say, did I go 4 on this one too? I think I did.
At least 4.
Yeah, solid match.
It was surprising how invested I got into it.
Yeah. It was. I mean, you can't say anything bad about either one of these two. Jungle Boy's a solid worker, high flyer. He's the girls like looking at him. And then you have MJF, who is the total package. What else do you want in a match? That's what I say. Wardlow.
100% less Wardlow. Yeah.
That would have been the icing on the cake there. That would have made it 5 Meltzers. What a great. So we're starting off great.
And then
so we move on, and then we have Cody Rhodes.
The finale, the finals of the TNT Championship tournament.
Yes. Barnes, what were your thoughts on the unveiling of the TNT Championship, which was unveiled by none other than the Dynamite Kid, Iron Mike Tyson?
Well, I was kind of hoping a little graphic would pop up saying "not final." I really hope that they spruce that thing up a little more.
It's a little small.
The size wasn't the issue.
It's very red.
The belt is red, and it's got like silver. The plates are silver, or silver like plated.
Yeah. I was not impressed with the belt, and I think most of the internet agrees with us on this.
And I will say this. I'd have to go back and look at the tag titles too, but each separate singles title looks like it's from a different Fed.
Yeah, it does. I don't hate the belt.
No.
I hate the background. I hate the leather. The red leather does not work for me.
I could take or leave it if the plates on it look better.
The plates are. I'm okay with the main
the plates don't
faceplate.
complement it. They don't complement each other very well.
No, I'm okay with the main faceplate.
Yeah.
It's the side plates that are weird and it doesn't look right. So now, is this gonna be the TV championship? Is this the one that's gonna be defended on?
I would assume so, considering they're making it the TNT championship.
Yeah, it should be defended every night and or every week, I should say.
Possibly. I believe Cody made an open challenge on the last Dynamite. I saw a clip of it on Twitter where he basically put out the open challenge. So
yeah. We have Cody Rhodes versus Lance Archer with Jake the Snake Roberts.
And Arn Anderson in Cody's corner.
Lance Archer has been a house of fire coming into AEW. Big push behind him. I mean, when you're giving Jake Roberts as your guy, and he's coming in there with these fantastic promos, calling Cody Caesar. That's just, oh man, that's the best. And I expected a little bit more from Archer. He wasn't bad. Don't misunderstand me. It wasn't his wrestling that I had a problem with. It was the outcome of the match. He makes his debut, and he comes in that strong. What should have happened, this should have been a disqualification, or Lance Archer just goes over, which would make sense since we've already got a face for the world title.
Right.
You know, it makes sense that we'd have a heel for the television title. I don't know, man. I was a little disappointed that Cody goes over clean, and because you just shit on Lance Archer. You got all this build up for him, and then it's laid to waste. I mean, it's not totally dead, but anytime he steps up to Cody, now you're already going to know the outcome.
But Doggz, Mike Tyson was there.
He was, and we caught the camera caught him yawning.
Yeah. Now, in fairness, like it's not like Tyson was nodding off at all. It was just they cut back at the worst moment, and he was caught in a yawn.
Yeah. I mean, the mouth wide open.
Yeah, he looked like, oh well, guess old Pop's ready for bed. It's like.
And before that, they went to another camera clip with him, and he's talking. He's not even watching the match. He's talking to somebody else, and he's just laughing and laughing. Finally, I think somebody said something to him. This is okay when we go back to you. We need you to be cheering Cody, and so the next time. There was like a second pause, and he's like, "Yeah, go ahead, Cody." Yeah,
as if someone cued him.
Yeah. The match wasn't bad. I wanted to see more. I wanted to see Lance Archer go over. Honestly, what should have happened to put him over proper? He should have, done something ugly, and right off the bat, and then just decimate Cody, just beat the hell out of him for 10 minutes. Cody makes a false hope comeback, but it's just not enough, and then some more shenanigans, and Lance Archer goes over, or something along those lines.
I guess maybe they avoided that because maybe it would have seemed too similar to his match with Jericho.
Yeah,
Because this is probably far from over, so they're going to build on this more, I'm sure.
I would think,
I have no doubt Archer's walking away with the championship at some point.
Yeah, I would think so. Maybe they're waiting for Fyter Fest.
Maybe, yeah.
which I completely forgot was a thing.
I mean, because they clearly want that man to succeed if they're going to put Jake the Snake in his corner.
Oh yeah. Strong match. Archer is really using all of the cameras, which is nice. That was made mention of a couple of times. Both of these guys just super athletes. Great work from both of them. I thought I gave this one a 4 as well. In fact, I've got it right here.
Yep.
Pretty solid. So we're moving along strong here.
I think really what we really ended up docking it for is because somehow it had almost, I don't know if it was the same length, but it seemed it was about the same amount of time that the Jungle Boy MJF match had, but the pacing felt more sluggish.
It was, yeah, and it was.
Not that they weren't.
Jungle Boy and MJF went 17 minutes, and Cody and Archer went 22 minutes. So it was roughly the same amount. But no, you're absolutely right. It did slow down.
It felt like it ran long.
Yeah, and that was just due to just the pacing was off on that one.
Yeah.
So we move into our next match, and this is where things take a turn. But not necessarily a turn, not bad. Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford with Kip Sabian, who comes out.
Oh my God,
beat the hell.
Yeah, he came out from the poker chip match, the ladder match earlier, and in a neck brace, 2 crutches. He had his leg bandaged up.
Oh, it was good stuff. Saban's hilarious, man. He's funny. I like the guy. I was pleasantly surprised with Statlander this evening.
Yeah.
She did not attempt to murder Penelope Ford, whether intentionally nor accidentally.
It's important in life to rein in those instincts.
Yeah. She's every time I've seen Statlander, she came out of the gate really well. Mm-hmm. And then she just started stinking things up, and then she got dangerous after a while, and it started scaring me to see her.
Now, are they veering her back into the face lane? Because it seems like with this match,
to be.
Because I know Penelope Ford is definitely not a face.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
I don't know if it was a by default kind of thing, but the crowd was really on Statlander's side.
They were. And she comes around and she's booping people and on the nose, and she's doing her thing, and it's a cutesy thing, and she does a little cartwheel spot where she does several cartwheels around Penelope Ford. It was cute. It wasn't bad. It wasn't necessarily a great match. It was fair to middling at best. They got their point across, and Statlander goes over. Kind of hated to see that. I wanted Ford to go over.
That wouldn't have been a bad.
But then again, I like Penelope Ford. She's a great heel, and I like the heels anyway. So.
I know you do. I know she's meeting all of your expectations.
She is. She's a heel. She's smoking hot, and she fights dirty. Mm-hmm. I don't know what else you want in a woman.
I think my favorite part of that match came at the end when Statlander is pinning Ford, and Sabian futilely swings his crutches into the ring to try and stop them.
Oh yeah, and she came in. She was supposed to come in as a manager too, so she was getting paid a manager's wages as opposed to a wrestler's wage. So it was. I imagine she's getting paid a little less.
I'd hope so, yeah. Especially as good as she's doing, they ought to start paying her what she should be paid.
Yeah. Now but again, that's rumor. I don't know. She's probably been bumped up now.
I'd hope so. Was this the match, or was it the championship match where wasn't Britt Blackwell supposed to be in one of these matches?
I believe that's the championship.
Oh,
match.
okay, yeah, okay.
And Yeah, I'm gonna let you expand on that here in just a second. Now, the match was what it was. It went about 5 minutes. I'm glad, because if it goes on longer, I think you're going to start to see the cracks in Statlander.
Right.
So yeah, I gave it a 2. It looks like Chris Statlander goes over on Penelope Ford with the help of Kip Saban. Now, let's go into the weirdness that is Sean Spears. And
this match, okay.
Why can't he get over? When you think about it, the mind reels. Why? What's happening? He's a great wrestler. He's good on the mic. Mm-hmm. It's not. The gimmick's not working, man. I don't get, like, even tonight, there was nothing that he really did that was wrong.
No.
But I hated every second of it. And he comes on and he's like, Dustin Rhodes is not here. And then he plays the music.
Actually, I thought that was a good twist on it. They did a good twist on that where, the thing is, he comes out because he's supposed to wrestle Dustin Rhodes, but he's in his regular clothes because he knows that Dustin is hurt.
Right.
So he's coming out, but they still have a match scheduled. But so he comes out and he's like, he plays the music and he looks to the music plays. He looks at the entrance and then he looks back at the camera with this big shit-eating grin. He's like,
you fell for it. You guys always fall for it.
And he makes Aubrey start counting because he has a match and he wants to win it. He's here, Dustin's not. So start the count.
Yeah.
And then the music plays again.
And he starts saying, no, you're only supposed to do it once, guys.
Yeah.
Brr.
Yeah, which I thought was a nice twist, because usually, most everyone knows the second time it plays, that's when they're actually coming out. Mm-hmm. But he still doesn't. And he's like, oh, you're supposed to just play it once. Come on. And we're like, just one time. Okay, just one time was enough. And then Dustin slides into the ring behind him.
Just appears from the right side of the camera. Mm-hmm. Nicely done.
Yeah, very well done.
Gives him the what for, gets his pop on, and back and forth they go. To the point to where he...
at some point, Sean is stripped of his clothes down to his skivvies.
Yeah, to where he has his boxer briefs on with a little picture of Tully Blanchard right on his wanger.
It's an iron-on, you can tell.
Yeah. And he stands here looking at the camera like, boo, and making the heel face, and so the match goes forward, and Goldust pulls down his underwear, and
I will never understand why wrestlers love this spot so much.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I know you've done it too. Mm-hmm, I don't get it.
Yeah, it's the, oh my God, I've forgotten the guy's name. Steve Corino.
Uh-huh. It
is the same reason that Steve Corino is not allowed to come to Gaston County anymore, because he has, a friend of mine, ran a show at the Gastonia Armory, and we were on that card, and I can't remember who Steve Corino was working, but this is in the height when ECW was at the height of their powers. Uh-huh. And whoever it was went for the schoolboy roll up, but pulled his tights all the way down. So you saw his bare ass, and then he kicks out, and he's walking around the ring, and he wants to know, still won't pull his pants up, and still wants to know, why is everybody laughing at me? And he did that just a little too long. Well, there was, I guess in today's climate, we would call this person a Karen in the audience. who wanted to see the manager, which was my friend, and she ended up calling the police on Steve Corino. And yeah, because she had her son there, and it turned into this whole thing, and well, Corino bounced. And
was she secretly worried he was going to catch the gay? I mean,
it was the 90s. You could catch the gay on a public toilet seat back then if you weren't careful.
I mean, again, I was like, I may not understand why people love going back to this well, but I understand it's a good cheap laugh. I mean,
it is a good cheap laugh. I love it.
And God bless Steve Corino for committing to the extra mile of just refusing to pull his pants.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it went on an excessive amount of time.
It's that kind. I bet he knows that kind of length of time because South Park did an episode on this and how something is funny, and then you do it too long and it's not funny, but if you keep doing it will swing funny back around to being funny again.
Yeah. And that's what happened here. Which brings us back into our match with Dustin and Sean Spears. Sean Spears got his ass hanging out for it's only slightly less time than Corino had his ass out, and he gets rolled up, and Dustin Rhodes goes over on Sean Spears, which thus would probably end this grudge, I would imagine.
Maybe.
The match it didn't go long at all. It was 3 minutes. But,
it was totally meant to just be a light little fun spot. So.
Yeah. Fun match. It didn't have any legs to it. I gave it a 2.5.
Sure.
Not that I didn't enjoy it. I did. Now that moves us into.
I mean, it does make perfect sense that it's only about 3 minutes because it's long enough to get the point.
Right. It's like you can't do a 3-minute match and get a 5-star out of it.
No.
But at the same time, you can't give it a 0 either because it's good. That's good shit that's happening in there. That's good television.
It popped the crowd of wrestlers who'd obviously had a few.
Yeah.
It's like when comedians work and they play to the back where all the comedians are.
Right.
Also, Big Swole. Let's go back and say,
let's talk about Big Swole.
Big Swole was a presence throughout this whole show because
especially during the Lance Archer Cody match. She was swinging for him.
I believe her exact words at one point were "fuck you, motherfucker." Because where she was in the crowd, she was right by one of the cameras, right by its microphone, and she was vocal. It was great.
Yeah, it was. It was the other wrestlers are having a ball.
Yeah,
there. It's fun. Next up, we have a no disqualification match. We didn't know it was a no disqualification match until the match started, but it was no DQ. For the AEW women's title, and I
think they showed that on the graphics, but I wasn't 100%. Well, we figured out it was no DQ. Well, you figured out it was no DQ when they started with a kendo stick spot.
Right. This is Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose, the Native Beast.
Hikaru Shida.
What's that?
Hikaru.
What did I say?
Hikaru? you got real close to
Hikaru.
You got real close to Hickory.
Hickaroo Dickaroo Doc.
Hickory Smoked versus Nyla Rose.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. Okay. Anyways, Nyla Rose. I'm very disappointed in Nyla Rose. I've said this many a times. If you're over 300 pounds, you're a monster, and I don't want you to talk. But I also don't want you to sell either. And she is selling way too much for these tiny, tiny, tiny women.
Well, she's not as small as the I forgot her name already again.
Yeah, I know. That's because she's so small that...
Riho,
that's right.
Yeah.
Jaiho.
Yeah, she's so small. Her name is actually bigger than she is. Yeah,
That was not that funny. That should not have gotten a laugh from me.
No, that's comedy gold.
Horrible.
Yeah, no, she sold way too much for Riho. I personally think she's selling too much for Shida. Although they at least gave us a reason for her to sell, because we started out with kendo sticks.
Yeah,
we moved into the guardrail. They wrestled outside in front of the crowd that consisted of wrestlers and maybe like their friends. I don't know who else was there.
There was a group that seemed to be just, it wasn't wrestlers, but it was, I don't know if it was extra crew or what, or
they may have let a
small smatter,
a smatter of fans in,
friends and family or something.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Somebody that wasn't going to sue if they got COVID.
They were further back from the action than
right. But yeah, it was.
But I mean, they went all out for this match.
They really did. They worked it hard. They took it into the stands. They took it up onto the stage there. They got back into the ring. They
also made
guardrails.
use of those giant poker chips.
They did.
Sheeta she did like a running knee into them. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we need to talk about knees tonight, and
we do need to talk about knees. Go right ahead.
AEW, take a knee, please.
Yeah, actually, don't take a knee because I'm seeing too many of them.
Stop doing
and
that.
They look weak.
Yeah, they really. Everyone was going for them at some point in the matches, and 70% weren't really connecting all that great.
As I'm looking down the card here, every single match threw at least one of those weak-ass knees.
It was weird, yeah. Once we started noticing, I think you noticed them first, and then once we started looking at them, they weren't really connecting well.
They weren't connecting, and it was very slow, and...
I think
if you can't make it look good, don't do it, man.
And I don't know if that was 100% the people throwing them so much as part of it was also people not reacting well to them.
Well, there's a little bit of that too.
They were just kind of absorbing the hit and not really.
Yeah, which kind of made me wonder: are they being called? Is this a spot or is this just the new punch?
It kind of reminds me of those times when it's like when I've seen spots where wrestlers like the other guy doesn't immediately know he's being punched, so he's not selling the punches well.
Right. Which is why, you want to lay your punches in just a little bit, just so they have something to sell.
Yeah.
That was not the case that was going on with
no, but
these knees.
I think Sheeta threw some of the good ones. Mm-hmm. She definitely was.
There was a couple of good ones, but there was a couple of bad ones too.
Yeah.
For every good one she threw another one that was bad. However, having said all that,
they destroyed the table that the librarians had set up with snacks and everything.
That's true, and I wish I could remember what the librarian's name.
I don't know, but I forgot it was them because we kept seeing slight glances of them throughout the show, and the male librarian was in like a dressing gown.
Yeah, and the female was after they messed it up. She was in horror.
Yes.
She was like, and oh man, it's funny. It was really funny.
It was really good.
All in all, Sheeta goes over on Nyla
and the new women's champ.
Yeah, and new, well deserved. She had a. Still not very believable. Nyla Rose is a monster. I'm just having trouble buying it, man. I'm probably going to get some flack for that, but Nyla Rose, until she meets up with Awesome Kong, she should not have any issue with anyone in the women's locker room except maybe Big Swole. Mm-hmm. And on a lesser note, Statlander, just because of their size.
What about Blackwell? Not so much?
No, not really.
Well, she was originally supposed to be in this match, but she got injured. There was a small rash of injuries right before this pay-per-view, wasn't there?
Yeah, there were. And I like Blackwell. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But let's just... In order for me to properly suspend my disbelief here, Nyla Rose needs to just destroy the entire women's division. Just bam, 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 bam,
Right.
bam, bam, and then here comes Awesome Kong, and oh hell, and then we have ourselves a pay-per-view.
I can see that because you of Nyla Rose's stature and her size. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It is kind of a different playing field for her versus everyone else.
I mean, if you want to bring Aja Kong back for like one more, I don't think that's a good idea at all, because the last time I saw her, first of all, she's 107 years old, and two, she, in her prime, she didn't look great.
Has she been the same since she fell off that Empire State Building?
No, she hasn't.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I mean, it's the last time I saw her, she looked terrible,
Right.
and she was wrestling terrible too. It's it was just bad on all parts, but maybe just out of respect to the woman, you give her, you put her over a little bit. You beat her, but you can put her over a little bit.
Right.
And then we get to Awesome Kong, and and that's when the shit goes down. And that's the way I do it. That's me armchair booking. What do I know? So yeah, pretty good match. Glad we got a new world champion. Let's mix it up a little bit. Nyla needs to take a break.
If we're talking about belts again, can we redesign that belt?
I'm not a fan of it either. I mean, I do. There's some things that you and me disagree on.
It looks weirdly small for a women's title too, on the regular size women.
Yeah. I was like, let's keep in mind that Nyla Rose is
full figure.
yeah, there you go. She's a BBW.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
just going to move right on past this because we're getting into an area.
Don't Google that. But yeah, it's just like, it just looks too small, and the oval is squished.
Which I like that.
I mean, the shape is fine. It's just it needs to be broader.
We don't call the women wrestlers broads.
I knew that was coming. You don't call chicks broads.
No, I agree. It's a little thin. I would like it to be to have a little more width to it.
Right.
It looks like a toy belt.
It's very very much like I would say like the belts from like the 40s to 50s.
Yeah, which
It's very very
they have their place.
yeah. Historically, yeah, but they look goofy to me, and I hate them. I'll just say it.
But yeah, no, and I agree. I agree with that.
They look back in the 40s and 50s. They look like actual belts. And
Right, but maybe they do this to the women's division a lot.
yeah,
They give them some shitty belts. Like
yeah.
That's been happening, and I don't want to say they're doing it on purpose, but I don't know what else to say about it. Like the women's tag team belt in the WWE, that's the first women's belt that I've said, hey, that's good looking belt right there.
Yeah, I also like the fact that it's not a giant dumb looking penny circle, like the regular tag belts.
Yeah.
Or the men's, sorry, that implies that the women's tag belts aren't normal. Sorry, I meant the men's tag belts.
Right. No, I know. I'm with you.
It's weird.
The women's tag, it's a good looking belt, but that's the only one that I can recall that I've ever seen that was like, that's a strong looking belt.
They need to personalize women's titles more without going full stupid and making another butterfly belt.
The butterfly belt was the worst. Oh my God, it was either they got to put some stupid butterfly on it because we're talking about women here, and women love butterflies, or so Vince McMahon has been led to believe. Or they're pink and tiny and ridiculous looking.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a strong looking, even the there's nothing wrong with the women's titles that they have over in WWE.
No, not
because
really,
they basically look.
They are.
Like,
they look like the men's. They're basically the copies of the men's.
And that's fine.
Yeah. I understand that because it standardizes it, and that way you know what company's champion you are right off the bat.
Right. But on that note, I would also like to see some a different looking style.
Yeah,
it can still be strong looking. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be a complete replica of the men's title. But having said all that, I don't mind those.
No.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying about that. In any event, we have a new champion wearing that stupid looking belt.
Well, I think the only thing that is it's just like I just know it looks pleasing to the eye.
Right.
Which
is why you are the fashion plate.
Wrong.
Just saying your nickname is earned.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. This is the rest of the podcast.
They hear me. It's next up. We move.
God, that was a deep pull of a reference you just brought out right there.
Wasn't it though? No, there's only a few people out there that's going to get that.
There's a handful of listeners out there who chuckled, and everyone else is going, "Nay, hear me." What did he just say? It sounded like some Shakespeare bullshit.
And they would be right. So next up, we have our semi-main event with the Exalted One, the leader of the Dark Order, Mr. Brody Lee, who has taken the AEW World Championship belt, and he faces the current champion, Jern Merkley.
I did enjoy Brody Lee forcing, I forgot her name, but the ring announcer to announce him as the self-proclaimed AEW champion.
Yes. Decent match.
Yeah.
If you got Jon Moxley fans got what they wanted from Moxley. You got to see Brody Lee show off a little bit, which you never got to see in WWE when he was Luke Harper. I'm not crazy about the outfit.
I dig it.
It's it looked like a onesie.
Well, a little. But it's nice that he gets to show off and wear tights.
It beats a wife beater in jeans.
They wouldn't let him have any in WWE.
Right.
Because he was, first he was part of the Wyatt family, then he was outcast from it, so he just had him wandering around like a transient.
Right. Just begging for money.
Yeah.
Good match. Not a lot to talk about here. As it was strong, but it didn't satisfy anything, and this feud's going to keep going. That's really about all I got to say about this.
And we talked about it while we were watching it, and I realized it just now. The reason Moxley beat Lee instead of the other way around was because they wanted to have Cage go after Moxley.
Yeah, and you're going to need a heel to do that.
You need a heel face.
Because that's going to be a hell of a match.
Yeah.
Either that or they'll have Lee go, or Lee.
But I will say,
go after the TNT belt, one or the other.
Yeah, but he's already calling out Moxley. So.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when I was telling you earlier about the Taz cutting a promo, that was on Moxley at commentary.
Oh.
They were in the ring. But I will, thinking about this show now that we've gone through all the results, is like this. I don't know if they're going off to do new storylines overall or what, just basically using it as a reset kind of.
Yeah.
Because this was a very face heavy win show.
It really was.
Cage won the match in the opening, and he's heel. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it.
And then MJF ends up winning
MJF,
his.
yeah, and that was pretty much it in terms of bad guys going over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Statlander wins, Dustin wins, Cody wins,
Yeah.
Hickory
Sheeta wins.
Hickory Sheeta wins.
Applewood. Her name's Applewood.
Name's Apple. Okay, Applewood. Beverage Farm remembers. So, yeah, and now we've got Jon Moxley going over clean again on Brody Lee. I didn't think this match was great. People were into it. I get it. I was not a huge fan of this match. The spots that they did were predictable. Mm-hmm. And I get it. If you don't have a crowd there and you worried about your attendance being low or whatever, you don't want to take big chances. I understand that. Probably more than most. So Moxley goes over clean on Brody. I gave it a 3. It was fine. It wasn't great. It was a decent house match for a championship.
Yeah, I think they'll come back on it somehow. I think it'll be like Brody Lee was just testing Moxley to see what he had. And I think they'll find a way to spin it into something better.
Yeah, I'm also wondering, the Dark Order's been kind of punished since they got there, and it's disappointing to see Brody Lee go over clean. Well, it's just like with everything else I've been saying. They're going over clean here, and you want to see a little bit of shenanigans afterwards, like
right.
And the whole pay-per-view, we didn't see anything like that. That's really about. Do you have anything else on this match? I don't really have anything.
Not really. It was pretty straightforward the whole way through.
Yeah. 3 Meltzers. Bleh.
I mean, I wouldn't really say blah, but it doesn't a standout.
No, not a standout.
Like what followed.
Like I said, as for a championship match.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a 4.
No.
But it's not a 2 either. It's because it was better than that. So you gotta I go 3.
Yeah.
So this is gonna take us to where we lose half of our wrestling audience.
Not me.
And we have the Stadium Stampede match.
I was 100% here for this.
Now, what stadium was this? This was in Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, it's the Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium.
Yeah.
Because Tony Khan owns them.
So we had the Inner Circle coming out with the pyro.
Cheerleaders.
They've got cheerleaders. They have their own football uniforms.
They are matching jerseys with pads.
Oh, yeah. Sammy Guevara has a football.
Who gave him that?
It's Santana actually had a football helmet on.
Yes.
But he couldn't get it all the way over his fro.
His hair, yeah.
Wow.
That's usually why most of the players end up braiding their hair.
Right.
Because they can fit it, or I think they have to have specialty helmets.
Yeah. So we have the Inner Circle, Jericho, Hager, Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz versus the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, Kenny Omega, Matt Hardy, which, don't get me started on Matt Hardy, and he's surprisingly missing
Hangman Adam Page. Yeah, he was supposed to be there. He didn't show up at the start.
Weird. So the match starts. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay, I'll start by saying they set up a ring in the middle of the football field.
In the middle of the football field, yeah. They didn't take.
Ostensibly, that's where they're supposed to be wrestling.
They've got AstroTurf down. They have they've got the goalpost up. The chalk lines are drawn. We are football ready, except for this weird ring on the 50-yard line. So the bell rings, and they start charging at each other. And it is off to the races of insanity, man. At one point, Jericho and somebody else, I want to say Omega, got in the ring for 2 minutes, maybe.
That was the most they spent in that ring.
Yeah.
The rest of it was a fight around the stadium.
It was the damnedest thing. It was a, as JR would put it, a slobber knocker. Now,
he did break out the government mule.
He did, yes. During the middle of this brouhaha comes Adam Page on Hunter Horse Helmsley
chasing Sammy Guevara.
I feel it's worth noting for our listeners who maybe didn't see this match that Hunter Horse Helmsley is an actual horse.
He is.
Mm-hmm. And so he's chasing him back into the arena. Things start to separate at this point, and
yes.
There is a real Money in the Bank 2020 feel to this whole thing. It almost felt like okay, you guys got stupid with your freaking performance center. We got a whole football arena. Watch this, and it was like,
I don't even know where to start.
I really don't.
Everything they did was insane, and it was hilarious.
There was so much. It was like, yeah, that's great. Your performance center, yeah, you had you got a back room with a bunch of vehicles. Well, we had a swimming pool.
Oh,
and
yes.
we can change Matt Hardy's gimmick.
Okay, so
every time he dunk him underwater.
Okay, so there's a whole bunch leading to that, but but Ortiz and Santana knock Matt Hardy in the water. I think Santana gets in to start beating on him, and he's telling Ortiz to get in too. Ortiz is like, I can't swim. He's like, it's 3 feet of water. Get in. Yeah. So they get in. They dunk Matt underwater. There's a camera there's a side view of this pool. You can see into it.
Yeah.
It's clear cut, and you can see. And the camera cuts to him underwater, and he looks at the camera. He comes back up. He's Matt Hardy version 1.
Yeah, and they actually brought out Matt Facts saying Matt Hardy can hold his breath for 3 minutes.
And in my favorite fourth wall break ever, Santana and Ortiz look at the graphics. They can see them. They're looking at it as if when it just appeared. It was I'm going to say it's a perfect Naked Gun moment.
It really was. It was funny.
They dunk him again, and he comes back up as I forget which version of him.
As tag team Matt Hardy, where he's doing the...
Yeah.
Oh, man. And then they dunk him because when he came back up, he didn't have his shirt on.
Right.
And... And then he comes back up and he had his mesh on. And
yes. Oh, my God.
So, and guys, we're not going in order. I don't think we could if we wanted to.
I'll jump in and say at one point, immediately after Hangman chases Sammy Guevara to the back, he loses him, but he spots the lobby bar.
Yeah.
And he goes into the bar, sits down, pours himself a drink. Hager finds him and sits down.
They have a drink together.
They have a drink for a moment, and then they start fighting.
Start slugging it out.
Yep. They brawl.
They end up breaking bottle after bottle after bottle over Hagerman.
Yeah, well, before that, Hager gets to do the classic
he did.
Clearing of the bar with Hangman. He slides him across and knocks off all the drinks.
Which is something I have always wanted to do. And had I been a part of AEW, I would have had my opportunity to do this. Damn it. I'll never get that opportunity, but they got it.
Hager almost puts him through the pool table when Omega makes the save.
Now that I have done.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Jericho.
well, let's do this too.
Okay.
Kenny Omega
Yes.
comes in there to help. And who was it that came? Was it Jericho? I believe it might have been Jericho. They came in and they started fighting, chased them out, and so Paige and Omega celebrated with a whiskey and a milk.
Yes. He
In
pours him a milk.
Florida.
Yep.
At the hottest point of the evening. Gross. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, it's also worth mentioning that when they clinked glasses, some of the whiskey got in the milk and some of the milk in the whiskey.
Yeah.
And then they immediately after had to drink that, which, I'm sorry, I would have broken character and be like, no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
I forget which Jackson brother got a hold of Sammy Guevara and proceeded to Northern Lights suplex him across the field.
Okay, now, yeah, that would be Nick Jackson.
Yes.
Or as Corny calls him, Bald Buck.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he started at the 5-yard line and proceeds to Northern Lights suplex him 100 yards.
He would Northern Lights suplex, bridge, Northern Lights suplex, bridge.
It was, and it took so long. They cut to something else. They go back. Here's Jericho.
Jericho's fighting the other Jackson brother.
That's right.
He stuffs him in Jaguar mouth.
That's right. Yes.
He throws him in there, and then the Jacksonville mascot gets mad at him.
Yeah.
So he knocks it out.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He gave him the super kick, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, go back to the Bald Buck we're at the 50-yard line now. He's still Northern Light suplexing Sammy. They go all the way from goalpost to goalpost, and man, he gets up and he's just kind of he's wobbling around. He's loose enough now.
One of them gets on the goalpost.
Yeah, I want to say it was Road Warrior Buck gets on. This is all not me. This is all Cornette. Gets up, climbs up there, jumps on top of everybody.
I know Jericho gets put through a table at one point.
He did get. Yeah. Jericho took the big splash from the Bucks, and then here comes Adam Page with the line marker.
Oh yeah,
and just walked right
over
him,
Jericho,
leaving a nice little line right up. Look, I don't care who you are. That shit was funny.
I forget who they chased down, but Omega and Hangman returned to the field in a golf cart.
It was Guevara again. Yeah.
At one point,
you gotta respect that kid's cardio, man.
Yeah.
Oh my!
At one point, Matt is in trouble and is saved by the arrival of his other drone, Neo 1.
Right. Yeah. There's almost too much to talk about in this.
There is. If you have a chance to watch it because it's just nuts from start to finish.
Now,
and I'd say good nuts.
Yeah. Good nuts, and so the Elite and Matt Hardy go over on the Inner Circle this evening, and I just gotta say, just go if you want more details. You just gotta go watch the damn thing. It's insane, and this is where the crowd gets divided, because. Yeah, and the thing about it is,
we even got the flag on the play in the instant replay when Jericho gets mad about a 2 count, and he and Aubrey go to review the footage.
Yeah,
arguing the whole way.
You could hear him in the tent arguing the whole time.
Her yelling, "He's not even supposed to be in there."
They come back out. The ruling on the field stands, and no, it's good stuff. It's a lot of It's basically what you would want to do if you got drunk in an empty football arena. Like, hey, let's do this.
You ever wonder what would happen if the Laugh Olympics were live action?
Yeah, exactly. Now, just as far as this whole pay-per-view goes, if you are a wrestling fan of heel face wrestling, you are probably going to be disappointed in this pay-per-view. If you're a fan of hardcore wrestling, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. If you're a fan of comedy wrestling, this is you, baby. This was everything that you ever wanted and more.
Oh, this match definitely, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's where we're divided, is that because for some reason people don't consider comedy wrestling. I beg to differ with that.
I beg to differ mightily, because one of the hardest things you can do is try and get people to laugh.
Exactly.
And to do that while still wrestling a match, you're just adding complication to complication.
And look, and listen, I've said this before. I'll say it again. Yes, wrestling does have rules, and some of these rules can be broken, some of them can be bent, but some of them can't be. And and that's just my opinion. That's just what I think. I didn't see any of those key rules broken this evening. Now, I have seen AEW break those key rules before, and I've seen WWE break these rules as well. However, this was just fun. The whole thing. Now, I gave the Stampede match a 3 Meltzers. I had a blast watching it. I can't go high on this because they spent a minute and a half in the damn ring. It's and the rest were all comedy spots, so you can't go 5 on that. But I enjoyed myself way too much to call that a 0 or a 1.
Level, I could easily go 5, but that's just me. I know other people would think differently.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm right in the middle there.
Yeah.
This is a comic wrestling fan's dream. This whole pay-per-view, it was fun. It was because there was enough wrestling in there to call a wrestling match, but there was much more comedy than there was anything else. As far as hardcore stuff goes, not a lot to talk about. Nothing too extravagant here.
No. Well, Brody did bleed. That's right. That was the big spot of Brody versus Moxley. Mm-hmm. They went through the entrance ramp.
Yeah, the entrance ramp, which I hadn't noticed that people had been walking around that, but I didn't pay too much attention to it until I saw that DDT coming. I'm like, okay, I get it now. Well, let me ask you, Fashion Plate, best dressed?
Matt Hardy.
Really? Did you say that just to piss me off?
No. Because he came dressed as every version of himself.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that. I had several questions for you.
The spot centered around his clothing.
Yeah.
I hate that jacket he regularly wears.
Oh, I do too. Well, that was where my question. I've got.
Oh no.
I've got 3 questions for you. Where do you get off? Who do you think you are? And what gives you the right?
Well, I feel like this is your fault because you asked.
Look, we're not we're not dealing with history here.
Right.
That's in the past.
I see.
We're dealing.
It's a very recent past, but all right.
We're dealing with this past pay-per-view.
I'm dealing with the past like half a minute.
That's right.
But yeah, no, it's because I love that spot, and it's centered around his clothes. So yeah,
Right on. Okay, worst dressed.
I think overall, actually, can I see the match list?
Absolutely.
Just because it'll jog my memory really quick. I'll go with I'll say Brody Lee. I didn't hate his tights, but comparatively, they didn't stand out very well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't like Brody Lee's tights at all.
I normally I think gray as an accent is really good on a lot of clothing, but it was the primary color for them, and it kind of seemed kind of drab.
I think the whole way the outfit looked in general just made him. It looked like he was wearing a gray onesie that said Mr. Brody Lee on it. Now I've seen him in other stuff,
Right.
That looks pretty good. It's kind of a Matt Hardy-esque thing, but it's better. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it didn't do anything for me tonight. So, Mr. Hensley, what do you have for best performance of the night?
Well, as with any AEW match that features Orange Cassidy, I am very tempted to say him because the ladder match was sheer comedy gold. The fact that this man just did not comprehend ladders. So I want to say Orange Cassidy, but actually, after seeing it through to the end, I'm going to go with Sammy Guevara.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know you got to.
Big props to him.
Yeah.
Everything he did during the insanity of that stadium match was also comic gold.
He got chased by a horse.
He got chased by a goddamn horse.
In a wrestling match.
He got chased.
Who else can say that in the world?
Suplexed the length of a football field.
Yeah. Now hold on, Doug's. To add another superlative to that, he got chased by a man on a horse through a football stadium.
Yeah.
Not just chased by a horse. He got chased by a golf cart driven by Matt Hardy of all fucking people.
Yeah. With Kenny Omega hanging off the side going, yeah.
So yeah, I'm going with ultimately it's Sammy Guevara.
Right on.
I cannot disagree with this a bit. Now, what do you have for worst performance?
I don't have anyone.
Really? Nobody?
No one stood out to me. And after a certain point, I was like, wow, I don't have a worst. Maybe I should start looking for one. But it wasn't worth it to me to like...
See, I thought you would have said Cody on this one.
Really?
Because you were not a fan of that match.
Well, no, I wasn't a fan of the match because, like you guys, I almost chimed in when you guys were talking about it. Yeah, it was 22 minutes, and part of it was we took a break because I think like half of the room had to pee.
Right.
But when we came back, I asked you, or I think I told you, I don't remember life before this match. It felt like it went on so long. That wasn't necessarily performance-wise on either of their parts. I can't remember who Cody was wrestling at that point.
Lance Archer.
Yeah.
He had the big red stripe ponytail.
Yeah, it wasn't a knock on the performance of either one of them. It was just a knock on the pace of the match.
Right on. Yeah. Okay. Now, if I had to give a worst performance, I'm going to have to go... You know what? I'm going with Nyla Rose. Because, again, I'm expecting her to no-sell a lot, and it's not happening. It's like, she's a monster. She shouldn't sell anything, nor should she talk.
Because she's 300 pounds. Because she's a monster.
Yeah. Exactly.
I got you.
I had a terrible...
If your name is the Native Beast, then no, you don't get to cut a promo, and you don't get to sell either. So you don't take bumps when your name is the Native Beast. Good God. Yeah, mine would have to be Nyla Rose.
Okay.
Yeah. Overall, I gave this whole pay-per-view... I wanted to go high on it, but I also said, I can't go low because I really, really enjoyed myself. However, this is a wrestling podcast, and the wrestling we saw was limited. Therefore, I'm meeting in the middle, and I'm going 3. That's where we're going with this.
Okay.
That's above average.
It's
Yeah.
your rating. I'm not going to dispute it.
Yeah. Well, you.
I easily would have
you-
got. I would easily would have got higher, but yeah, that's just
Well,
me.
you just said that you would have given the top one a 5. What
Yes.
would you have rated the whole pay-per-view?
Round 4,
Round 4?
4.5 maybe.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
I mean, sorry, I'm stumbling a little bit.
That's
Just
okay.
I'm trying to formulate the words. Just like ultimately, I want to, excuse me, walk away from this saying I had a good time and I was entertained, and that I was. So
And that's why I went with a 3.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
because
fair.
I liked it. And now there are wrestling purists out there. I know a good many of them that will go so far as to say this was the biggest bag over the face punch in the head I ever got from AEW, and I'm never watching this shit again.
that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Oh no. Maybe they should tell someone who would help them deal with that in a timely way, like a therapist.
Well, but now these are also wrestling purists and
They're also wrestling fans who always look for the bad in everything.
They're true. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Were these same purists also like swearing off the WWE after Money in the Bank? Because that was one big gimmick
Oh, yeah, no,
match
they were,
too.
yeah.
Yes. They hated that.
That was
too.
the line
Okay.
for them. That did it.
Yeah.
No
That-
more gimmick matches.
That's what when they saw money on the roof, they said, "Okay, fuck this. I'm going to be AEW all the way, baby." And then he heard about a stadium match, and they just doubled what they did. And there's a goddamn it, I watch AEW to get away from this horse.
They
shit.
never promised to be
And
early
that's-
WCW 2.0.
Looks like I'm driving from coast to coast, going to only local house shows.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Well, as I hate to disappoint you, but the only reason the local independent scene is not doing the same damn thing that the Inner Circle and the Elite did is because
Budget.
they don't have the budget.
Yeah. Yep.
Have you've seen those you've seen the house shows and the armory shows. They use every single thing that they can find, and that's why the armories clean up way before and they hide everything and they lock the doors because they know ahead of time.
Wrestlers aren't to be trusted.
Right. Guys, I had a great time watching this.
Hell yeah.
I had a great time talking about it. Now, Hensley, we got a lot coming up. What are we doing here?
All right, so this is going to continue a hot streak for us of new content.
We're working too hard.
We are. So up next is going to be, it's a Long Walk Talks episode, but officially it's a big Long Walk family crossover.
Yeah.
So it's going
Dave's
to...
going to surprise us all with performance reviews.
Yes. So it's going to be the three of us along with Stan Wilson Lee from Long Walk Talks.
Heard of
and
him.
Shelby Ray and Gina Belmont from This Is a Takeover. The six of us are doing a crisis crossover episode about what we have been doing during quarantine, what we've been keeping ourselves entertained with.
Who dies?
We tune in to find out. Then after that, there...
Stan.
Probably.
Oh yeah, no, that's a
Then
given.
On June 7th, there is going to be an NXT TakeOver pay-per-view that we will be recording an episode of. This is a TakeOver 4 pretty soon after that is released. On June 14th, we've got WWE Backlash, which we will hopefully be getting a new episode of this show out within a week of that. And then sometime towards the end of June, Long Walk Talks is going to be continuing its Quentin Tarantino discussion with the films From Dusk Till Dawn and Tarantino's segment of the film Four Rooms.
I can't wait for that episode. I'm so excited.
So that is 4 new episodes coming out over the next couple of weeks across all 3 shows. And like I said in our last episode of Long Walk Talks to our listeners, you're going to see a change pretty soon in the name of this channel since we're now up to 3 podcasts. Long Walk Talks and This Is a Work and This Is a Takeover. It gets pretty long. So we're going to have one name for the channel containing all 3 of these shows.
Right on, right on. Did we miss something? No, I think we got it all.
What our shows that we produce?
No, everything that we were going for the month of June, and
Yeah, that's it. There's the NXT takeover. Well, there's the Crisis crossover episode for all three of the shows.
that's
there's
next
the
week, right?
Yep, and then there's the NXT takeover episode, WWE Backlash, and then the Quarantino discussion.
Whew. Good Lord.
Yep. So,
Right on.
Doggz, if listeners want to follow you and reach out to you online, where can they do that at?
Well, as I've said before, if you want to get me on Facebook, I'm on there a little bit. I'm taking a little bit of a break until things kind of calm down. People are getting mean and ornery on Facebook. I like Instagram because it's just faces and not too many heartaches. We'll just call it that. How about that, huh?
I thought you were going to say uggos.
I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, man. You set those pins up for me. I'm not knocking them down. You go to hell. I'm not going to do it.
I should just point out I don't go on Instagram at all. So
I like Instagram. It's a little happier. It's not.
Yeah, of all the social media platforms out there right now, I got to say Instagram is probably the best one.
Yeah.
And the least angering.
that's true. I spend a lot of time hate reading Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the reason I keep every few weeks. I'm like, God, I want to keep up on the social media train. I want to keep up on promoting the show and promoting the rest of our work. I need to get back on Twitter because Long Walk Productions has a Twitter. I have my own personal one, but then I'll get on Twitter and I'll scroll through it and I read the things that people are saying and tweeting and retweeting, and I'm like, nope,
it's terrible.
nope, I don't want to be on Twitter.
I'll tell you exactly who to follow on Twitter. You follow Possum Every Hour.
And you also follow Redbeard Rob
Yes.
because frequent guest of the show and friend of the pod, Robert Bradford, is on there on Twitter, and his Twitter is equal parts like very insightful and also comedy gold.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, what about you, Mr. Barnes? Where can we find you?
People seem very invested in not, but if they want to, it's Chris the OK on Twitter. That's about enough.
Very nice. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can do that at DB Hensley, and that's probably the best place to reach me if you want to comment on any of my stuff or send me a direct message. If you have any thoughts about AEW or WWE or any of the things that we've talked about across our three shows, you can email those thoughts to me, david.longwalk@gmail.com. And if you have any questions or comments, we'll answer them on the next episode of whatever show's coming up.
And you can get me on Instagram at 2Doggz. This is a work, all underscores between the spaces. That's number 2, DOGGZ underscore this underscore a underscore work.
This a work?
Work?
This a work. That's what
You just said this a word.
Shut up.
I think to save us all some time and sanity, at some point we need to pre-record this outro.
Yes.
Yeah, we really should. That's just...
Also, you should definitely subscribe to Dave's Twitter if you want to see pictures of his dogs.
Yeah, it's 90% of my Instagram is pictures of my dogs and alcohol.
And they cannot be photographed well. It's amazing.
No, it's adorable.
You can also find me on TikTok.
I was waiting for
Yes.
it.
I have gotten 19 followers.
Yes, that's one more than
Y'all-
you had last
You're
week.
damn right.
Y'all need to get him to the For You page.
I am TikTok. In fact, I received that 19th one after I did the Long Walk Talk show that very night.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
That LWT bump.
Oh yeah, man. Okay, so that's gonna do it for us, guys.
I think so.
So for producer David Hensley and Chris the Fashion Plate Barnes.
Incorrect.
What? No, that's correct.
Get on with it.
This is David 2Doggz Hayes saying, if you got out of bed today and you had a job to go to and you had someone that cares about you when you get back home, folks, this match is over and you just won via pinfall. Thank you for listening to This Is a Work.
Thank you, listeners. If you enjoy the show or any of our sister shows, please make sure to leave us a rating and a review on whatever platform you're listening on.